Good afternoon, and you are very welcome to Twyford Avenue here in the west of London, the home of Wasps FC Ladies, who are celebrating their 35th season as a club, thanks to Sol Martinet, one of the oldest women's clubs in the land. Their opponents today are at the other end of the spectrum. Loughborough Lightning, a club created for its Tyrrells Premier 15s League, are both semi-finalists last season, and with lofty ambitions of going one stage better this year, being the bare minimum. It is very early days, of course, this round 5. Very good afternoon to Cap Merchant, the former England winger, of course, alongside me, Johnny Hammond, this afternoon. But as I say, very early days in the Tyrrells Premier 15s. Let's have a look at the state of the table then as we go into this round of matches. Wasps and Loughborough nicely placed in the standings. The London club nestled in at 3, and Loughborough tucked in behind Gloucester Hartpury, just 3 points behind those two. From in you look at the top with Harlequins and Saracens, the double champions, on the maximum 20 points. From in you look, unfortunately, at the bottom 2, Worcester yet to register a point, and Twyford Waterloo with just the solitary point. So this is how this round 5 lines up this weekend in terms of the fixtures. Twyford Waterloo and Saracens, 3 o'clock kickoff. The Merseyside outfit host the champions a week after losing to Lightning 91 points to 7. Skipper Natasha Hunt returns to lead Gloucester Hartpury into battle against Worcester, who have had new coaches Joe Yapp at the helm. Quilms have their captain returning too, Rachel Burford, as Bristol visit without their Welsh international. Rounding things off at 5 o'clock is DMT Sharks, their visits to the capital. Richmond set to hand new signing Hannah Duffy, her debut off the bench. Well, let's hear from both the coaches. They spoke to Lucy Lomax earlier on today.
Giselle, this is the first team in the top half of the table to come to Twyford Avenue this season. What sort of challenge are you expecting from Loughborough today?
They're obviously an incredibly good side. They had a great season last season. It's going to be a real competition. Their midfield 3 has approximately 200 caps between them, but we see that as a really good challenge to test ourselves. We're very excited to have it here. There's fantastic conditions for the game, and we're really looking forward to the battle ahead.
And how much confidence and belief are you taking into this game after a tough win on the road against Bristol last week?
We were very proud of the performance we put on the road last week. Our defence was outstanding, and obviously we're looking to carry on with that and to put the handling in as much pressure as we possibly can.
And you're handing a number of first team debuts for this season to a number of your starting pack. How good of a chance is this to showcase your strength in depth today?
Well, the aligning of the global calendar is the issue here. So we have several players who are on international duty this weekend, which is as it is. We work very hard here to train all of our players together. We do a lot of stuff together. I have every confidence in the players that are making their Tyrrells debuts this weekend for this season to really step up, and they can't wait. They're so excited to actually have the opportunity that they work week in, week out to create for themselves, and they've created it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them play.
Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Reece, you've not had the easiest start to the season. What have you learned from the losses in rounds 2 and 3 that you can take into the game today?
Yeah, we knew the first 3 would be tough, with selection, especially with Scotland being on tour and us having 5 or 6 of those players. So the first 3-4 weeks were always going to be just about building and making sure that everyone gets an opportunity. So tough game against Bristol. We didn't really turn up with the away trip. So keen with today that we start really well. But last week just really shows what we're capable of when we've got ball in hand, and that's Sarri's game in particular. Yes, we lost, but it was us that threw it away towards the end. Sarri's obviously put us under a lot of pressure second half, but that first half in particular was probably the best rugby we've played in the 3 years or 3 tournaments so far. So it's just a case of having possession, controlling the game, and starting well, really. And if we can do that in a tough game today, I'm sure we'll come out on top.
A great opportunity to put a stake into the ground today. An opportunity made all the better for the return of Sarah Hunter to the starting lineup. What does she bring to your team? Yeah,
she's having Sarah around the programme generally is really positive. Her experience and her knowledge of the game is phenomenal, and she's been adding her value off the field as last couple of weeks. But having her back is just going to be another top player just in terms of giving us gain line, and that physicality she brings is something that everyone else is going to thrive off. So you saw with our throwing the ball around last week in the Waterloo game that if we get better front foot as well, then that's just going to be a little bit easier again. So having her back's great, but I'm pleased with how we've done in the last couple of weeks without her, with the depth we've got, and in particular someone like Morwenna coming in, only a 17-year-old. She's somebody who's got Sarah's qualities as well, and she's only 17. So having that depth is really key.
And what threats do this Wasps team bring today that you're going to need to counter?
Yeah, Giselle's obviously a very good coach. They're very well organised. They've got a bit of quality across the field as well. So I think it's pretty evenly matched today, and I'm pretty excited to see the backlines go against each other. But I think it's probably going to be one up front, if I'm honest. If we can dominate that set piece and the contact area in particular, which is one of our targets today, then I'm sure that we'll be able to play and have an open game. But it's just not going to be an easy one.
All the best today.
Thank you.
Well, let's have a look at the runners and riders for this afternoon's fixture. What's first? Not the easiest week in terms of selection for Giselle Mather, with injuries and international camps going on. But the backline sees only one change, and no surprises for guessing where. After her try last week and performances in the summer for the Red Roses, Claudia McDonald starts in the 9 jersey with captain and player of the week Kate Alder at 12. Mason, Dirk and Dow are one of the sharpest back threes in the league. It's in the pack where all the changes happen. Evans and Muir recently named in the England under-20 squad, packed down in the front row, with Casey Allen in behind. Nicole Smith joins Malloy and Craig in the back row, Craig moving from the row. Well, Loughborough, not much more than an opposed training run in reality for East Edwards charges last week. Still some of the changes though. Big news is the returning of player, coach and England skipper Sarah Hunter, wearing her customary number 8 shirt. Georgia Bradley moves into the engine in a whole new front row that includes England hooker Lark Davis. The England theme continues in the backline. Katie Daly-McLean and Emily Scarrett, World Cup winners, will look to control not only with their hands but their boots as well. And Rona Lloyd, the league's top try scorer, dotted down 7 times last week. Onto the benches, and plenty of experience on both pines, none more so than Claire Purdy, now Cripps. Seems like they built this place around her. She's been here for so long, and some impetus to come off the away side too. Test players like Emily Tussiok and Jenny Maxwell of Scotland, the scrum half. So very good afternoon to you, Kat. It's a fascinating game, isn't it? We've spoken briefly about the disruptions that Wasps have had with international camps and injuries, of course, but that will be no excuse, and they'll use that as no excuse. They're back at home this week after a great away victory at Bristol Bears last week. Continue that same intensity, I guess.
Yeah, they're going to want to build on what they did last week, and you're only as good as your last game, and then they need to up it again today. But I think they seem keen for it. They seem to be warming up for about 2 hours, so I think they're definitely buzzing for it. Yeah,
they were certainly out very early on training, the last hour and a quarter or so. We just move on to Loughborough Lightning. Fairly inconsistent, got some decent spectators, haven't we? Bridie Keel, sister of Poppy, in the moon boot. A project player, Harriet Miller-Mills, on the right-hand side of the shot there as well, not able to take the field. In fact, she wasn't able to take the field last week down at Shaftesbury Park at the home of the Bristol Bears. But we're talking about Loughborough being inconsistent so far this season. They need to scrap those inconsistencies today if they're going to beat what is a very tough Wasps side.
Yeah, because they've got the complete package. Realistically, they should be able to perform, like you said, like a training run in terms of last week. But it's just fine-tuning, I think, and some things don't quite go their way. But I think, building, and the more that they play together, those key experienced players will pull the team, so they play in a more consistent manner.
Yeah, notched up 91 points last week. I just wonder whether that's shaken off some of the rust and some of the inconsistency to get some rhythm and some flow going.
Definitely, just to be able to go through the patterns rather than being turned over after 3-4 phases allows you to kind of play how you want to, and it will build confidence. Of course, 91 points on any team is massive, so they'll be going into this game with a kind of renewed confidence rather than frustrated.
Or 40 points in a World Cup final. Either way, it's confidence building, isn't it? The rugby keeps coming at you. You can gorge on rugby this weekend. We're here on the Tyrrells Premier 15's website, on England Rugby Facebook page, and of course the YouTube channel as well. As the final preparations are just made, you can see Rachel Malcolm, the Scotland international, Loughborough Lightning captain, in there giving the last instructions, and is Loughborough who will get us underway. Your referee this afternoon is Joe James, assisted by David Herdman and Phil Hallsworth, the assistant referees. 43 tries scored in the league last weekend, 15 of those by Loughborough Lightning. Suspect we may well see a different type of game today for the Loughborough side. Wasps was so mean in defence, accurate when they had the ball, and an absolute brutal defence. That's what they'll need again today against a star-studded side. One of those bright stars is Katie Daly-McLean. Loughborough in the pink and purple, Wasps in the traditional black, celebrating their 35th season. McDonald and Edwards just has to control with the boot. Here's a blustery breeze, certainly none of the rain that we've had this week, going from right to left. So at the back of Wasps at the moment, but it's in and out. Nice bright day. Olivia Jones has Emily Scarrett on hand. And then Nelson, Helen Nelson, has been in fine form. Had a stretch for the pass, but one of those passes you can move on to. Davey, nice crisp service. Was unable to clear their lines. Danger for both sides today to be able to clear their lines, to not allow these devastating players that both sides have in their back lines to get cheap and easy ball. First carry for Sarah Hunter. She uses the decoy that time, and Loughborough through. McDonald, Rachel McDonald. Great start this from Loughborough. They're going on that short side again. Scarrett had to pick that ball up from her bootlaces. Kate Alder was there. You just suspect she will be all afternoon. McDonald again. Just shepherding in behind that ruck. There's Malcolm, and then the rest of our forwards take that ball on. Davey. Knocked on by Loughborough. And that defence from Wasps again, holding firm.
Yeah, you can see the desperation in their defence there. They're putting massive line speed on. But one of the exciting plays in that is just how Katie Daly-McLean uses her forwards. She plays so flat and really gets in behind the defence and lets them go through. And that's just exactly what you want from your fly half, because then when Wasps start to read it, they come in tighter. Then you've got the likes of Emily Scarrett out the back.
You played with Katie for many years. That's something she's done, is it? She's just crept flatter and flatter and flatter as her career has gone on. And that's natural, I guess, as you get more confident in the role as a fly half.
Yeah, more experienced and, yeah, just confident and willing to take some of the hits, sometimes from the back row by standing flatter.
Edwards, fine boot down for Olivia Jones on the fringe of England last year. Just finished her Masters at Loughborough. There's plenty of rugby brains out there. Daly-McLean, one of those right at the top of the list. Twyford. Well, she's got brilliant pace. Scarrett has her. Chance for Wasps with ball in hand. Knock on from Isha Evans. Advantage being played to Loughborough. Katie Daly-McLean sat right back in the pocket. Goes over the head of Abby Dow. There's Twyford. The wingers mixed up. Apologies to them both. Claudia McDonald, great impetus off the bench from her last week with that try. Put her hand up over in San Diego, didn't she, in the Super Series for the Red Roses. Included in that England squad as a third scrum half, of course, alongside Mo Hunt. Leanne Riley. Turnover ball for Loughborough there, and it's good ball. Daly-McLean realised where the space was, got it through the hands quickly, and then it's Scarrett. Pops it back inside, and Jones. Good continuity here from Loughborough. And Sarah Hunter. buzzing around those fringes, isn't she, the scrum half? Lark Davis made the move from Worcester, the former captain. Interested to see how they go today, with Joe Yappin in charge now. Daly McLean flat again and late onto the ball. Keeps that defensive line guessing all the time. Again, just assessing her options. The option was to give it to her fullback, Olivia Jones. Malcolm. Nicole Smith was there, but tried to rip that ball away. Wasps have done very well.
Yeah, Wasps have stayed strong in their defence there, because Loughborough are going from edge to edge. They're really trying to stretch that defence, try and find the gaps and go through. Kicking wise, they need to be very careful, Loughborough, because they want to get in behind them. But if you're going to kick to a player like Dirk, she is fast, she's got footwork. You know, we saw her make a line break in there, so you just got to be really clever with those tactical kicks to avoid those players.
In the first scrum, I know you're a wonderful exponent of the scrum cat.
I do love
the
scrum
doctor.
Yeah. That's what they call me.
Got it on your number plate. Scrum doctor.
Yeah.
Sarah doing complete control here. The Loughborough 8 are in complete control, and already a penalty coming. They want more though. It's down. It's away. They've got the advantage. Katie Dana McLean knows that.
Yeah, and why not have a kick in a situation like that? You've got the penalty advantage, so have a go. Go where the defence aren't. But back to that scrum, how comfortable does Sarah Hunter look just sat at the back of that as they're driving forward? She just knows exactly what she's doing and just so comfortable.
What does she, as a player, as a captain, bring to a side?
Calmness, complete calmness. You know, when she's leading, she's not screaming, shouting, trying to G you up. She's actually more that calm, controlled voice of kind of reason, and you just know you could follow her anywhere.
One of those natural born leaders, isn't she, Sarah Hunter?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I've been captained by her. I've also been captained by Katie Dana McLean. And Katie's more that upbeat kind of geeing you up kind of. And, you know, I really like both styles. I think it just depends on your personality. And you've just got to go with that and be authentic with it.
And, of course, in the modern game, you're going to have plenty of leaders, aren't you, in and around?
Definitely, and that's important right the way across the pitch. Rather than one voice, you have lots of people's voices feeding in, so you get a better picture of what's going on.
Referee's going to sort this area of the game out. There's obviously an ascendancy for Loughborough. Plenty of power coming through that front row. Trevathan, Davis and Menin, a Canadian international on the tight head. In behind Talling and Bradley. And this great back row, the youngster, the teenager, Amelia Harper, in amongst Sarah Hunter and Rachel Malcolm. Again, they're looking to put the drive on here. Nicole Smith looking up, Craig looking up, Sarah Hunter wants the full 5 points, and she gets it, Sarah Hunter, on her return to Loughborough colours. The England captain scores what for her is a very easy score.
Yeah, you know, that doesn't break a sweat for her, does it? She's just controlled the whole time. They know exactly what they're doing. I like the confidence, you know, in that scrum to do exactly the same. They know they dominated last time and look to repeat it. But there's just no panic in it, because in that, Davy could have kind of gone to try and take that out slightly earlier. Glad she didn't. Left her to it. Knew exactly what they were doing here. So it's clear what's going on. And then just that control, good hands, slightly short, but she's allowed to then present the ball, so it's that secondary bit. She drives forward to go, and that's why that's allowed in there.
You went to the ground, you allowed one movement. That one movement was over the line. And you could see it coming, couldn't you? You could feel it coming. Wasps not been really out of their half. And all this early pressure in the opening 10 minutes to Loughborough, and they've converted it into points. Emily Scarrett needs to readjust the sat-nav should she get another opportunity. So just 5-0 to Emily Scarrett's side.
I jinxed Emily Scarrett last time because I said, oh, once she misses one, she never misses another one. So I kind of don't want to say that now because I think she will slot it straight away. She's a very smart player, very skillful player. So hopefully for Loughborough's sake, she'll sort it out.
I'm sure thank you for bringing up. The game against Italy was at the Stoop, wasn't it?
Oh yes, yeah. She won't want to talk about that.
Somebody kept scoring it. Can't remember the winger.
They kept scoring it out wide, didn't they?
Wide,
I think on purpose.
Just couldn't get one over. But that does not faze her at all. Daly McLean had a few inverted commas blockers in front of her. Mason and Dow, there's that back three. Gemma Rowland as well, older Wasps captain. Moving into the media world. First female correspondent for Talking Rugby, Kate Older, congratulations on that. Player of the match as well last week. Claire Malloy would have had to have been there or thereabouts, but it was Heather Fish's decision. And you don't argue with Fish.
No, she does what she wants.
I'm not going to argue with you either.
Yeah.
So. Good turnover ball. Loughborough feeding off it, haven't they? Scarrett. A little bit too much on the pass from Emily Scarrett for Rona Lloyd.
But what I really like was whenever there's a turnover, a lot of the time you call it gold ball, something like that, but it's just turnover is a golden opportunity. Defensively, they're not going to be set, so you want to move it at least 2 passes to get it away, and Loughborough are really good at that. The final pass, okay, not going to hand, but in general, move it, get outside them, and they do that very well.
That was only the 9th try that Wasps conceded so far this season. Joined second with Saracens in that particular table. Quinn's right up the top, only conceding 6 tries. As you saw this morning, didn't we, in the World Cup final, defences win championships.
Yeah, definitely.
Just trying to play a little bit deeper from their own half. Penalty was coming anyway. It's an impressive start this from Loughborough. Wondered how that, let's be honest, they were wearing cricket whites last weekend. It would have been an appropriate 91 points they put on field Waterloo. They just wondered how they're going to react today. Unopposed trading run, but they're right mentally in the right frame of mind, aren't they?
I think that's it. Mentally, they look calm and they're playing in a very clinical way. They're not panicking if there's a mistake. It's gone into touch. Never mind. Let's compete in the line out. Let's get our line speed and we'll win it back. So which they're doing very well.
Mark Davis comes off for them anyway. Menin, Canadian international, storming away to the line. Loughborough hunting their second try here. David arrives. Sarah Hunter arrives. Malloy, part of the reception committee for the England captain. Wider now, Scarrett. Jones. Jones, is there space for Jones? There is. And Olivia Jones goes in for Loughborough's second, but it was all about the run of the tight head prop.
Definitely. She, props often exaggerate how far they run for their tries, but actually that was genuinely fantastic line break, burst through. And then Jones, the dummy as well, to kind of just hold that defence enough to go through. Very good. And just how fast they react to it. So great hands from Katie over here, Emily Scarrett. Clinical hands across, that dummy just sends the defender across, footwork back in, scoring over the line. So big long pause there, she's had to take it above her, but yeah, just that gets rid of Dow there, who drifts across because she thinks she's going to pass.
Yeah, Dow has to stay wide, doesn't she, for the threat of Rona Lloyd. Always do the flashiest things. Do they clean, but just do the right things, make the right decisions most of the time.
Yeah, and if you do things without panicking, like when they moved that wide, it wasn't straight to hand, it was slightly high and above her head, but actually she manages it well, pulls it back down, and then doesn't kind of keep passing it on. Sarah Hunter's having a strong start, isn't she? Like bursting through there easily, and then where she's developed her game is then looking for that offload.
What injury now? Scarrett using a bigger boot. He's 22.
And that's a nice clever play there. That's something from nothing to get it rolling into touch. Just puts the pressure back onto Wasps now. They can defend down in their 22 and they can force them to kick back to them and go into that territory battle that we were talking about pre-game.
A big long boot that you and I spoke about before the game. Got a few sound issues going on here at the moment. Apologies for that. A few gremlins. Most people think it's actually a blessing I'm quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can hear the name first, you can hear that connection through with me. McDonald with the box kick, and Wasps needed that, didn't they? Just need some territory at the moment.
Yeah, some territory. They want to, you know, they haven't really been much out of their own half, and it really limits what you can do in there. So actually, a nice, clever kick from McDonald to put in over the top. A good chase from Dirk as well, because your kick's only ever as good as your chase, and then it's kind of forcing them back in into having a better territory battle.
Well, there's some interested spectators here. Richard Blaze, England forwards coach. Richard Blaze, as I say, here with Simon Middleton, the England head honcho.
So Lark Davies, another one, just managed it. She's normally so found, and it's turnover from Wasps there, like complete great reactions.
It's a brilliant try from Wasps into the corner. And boy, did they need that from the line out. It's quick thinking from Wasps. And they reply, and they needed it so badly. Not been in this game so far.
Yeah, they took their opportunity there, didn't they? Completely just switched on, read it, got that ball, and then absolute gas to finish into the corner.
Really good finish from Wasps. Front of that line out the far side. Sorting out some few technical issues here. My eye's slightly off the ball. Apologies for that, Cap. Yeah. Wires and microphones and headsets all over the place. Hopefully we can. We're back online now. You can hear what's going on. But Wasps have scored. So Claudia McDonald was there or thereabouts, wasn't she? Involved.
And that's where, you know, she's very quick at 9. As you said, she's captain the back 3 as well, like just fast, and her reaction's very good.
Hannah Edwards, just short from wide on the touchline. The kicker's not enjoying where the conversions are being taken from today.
Well, I think it's windier actually than it looks like, so here's the good reactions into here. It doesn't even need to use the handoff. And that's just pure pace, isn't it? She's got another gear in there that she just picks up and goes.
Yes, Claudia McDonald with a try last weekend against Bristol as well.
Well, Natasha Hunt as well, you know, she's been capped at fullback, capped at 9. And so for Claudia to come in and do the same is great to see. These fast kind of young players can play in more than one position.
Yeah, she had a little bit of time in the Super Series, didn't she? In San Diego on the wing, Claudia McDonald.
Yep.
Blessed with that thing that most of us can only dream about, pace. You're laughing, you're one of the best at it.
Yeah, I had a little bit of pace.
Yeah. Touch more than a little. Into the heart of the defence is Talling from Loughborough. Megan Davey whips that pass out, but referee calling us back for the penalty.
Well, I think Malloy's very clever in the breakdown, but she will, she's a great 7 and she will push the boundaries, and that's what all good 7s do. And that one just not quite getting away with that one. I think she thought it was out, kind of stepped over, ref told her it's not. So then the penalty against.
Yeah, it's taken a bit of a break from international rugby this season. Claire Malloy, a former Bristol captain, over 50 caps for Ireland now.
She's another one, I think, a real just leader on the pitch from what she does. Like quite quiet, but everyone, again, will listen to anything she has to say because she's so experienced and calm.
And that level of performance hardly ever dips from her.
I don't think I've ever seen her have a bad game. Yeah, she's just, completely consistent.
Rachel McDonald at the tail. It was an ambitious throw from Lark Davis, and she nails the throw. And again, this forward pack. Ross without plenty of their frontliners. Miller Mills traversed 2 Irish ladies. Davy. Big dummy from the scrum half. Katie Dana McLean. Mona Lloyd are lurking on the short side. The ball's gone down to the deck, so we'll have a scrum to Loughborough.
So I think although Davy got a little bit caught in there, I think her decision was made because of the Wasps line speed. She looked up, was trying to get the pass away to Daly McLean, but then actually in the corner of her eye sees the Wasp flying up, and if she gives that, she's risking an intercept, or at the very least, Katie McLean's going to get smashed. So she holds it in, does the safer option, but then gets caught in a little bit there.
Didn't bother Australia giving those passes, did it?
No, they did not care.
Anthony Watson, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Apologies to any of our Australian viewers, but come on, it's a World Cup quarter-final. It's a good win for the English.
Definitely.
Us English.
Good way to start the day.
Very good way. Sunter again. Look at the control. Those front rows have got down on their knees. Wasps, it's another penalty. Now, should you have the armband on here, what's your choice?
I'd go scrum again, just because they've dominated nearly every single scrum. So I just think it sends a real message to them as well. It's like, we've got this all day, and so you're just getting into their head.
Yeah, 100%. They've had the upper hand at scrum time for the entirety of this game, and there's no reason why that's going to change.
Yeah, and I think, kicking wise, it is windier than it looks out there. It's now starting to pour down, possibly, not thinking about points either. I just think, dominate, go for the scrum.
Yeah, no Dennison today, no Rico in that front row, the Spanish international. McMahon as well. Maloney as well.
They don't look like they're getting out of shape, Wasps. They're just going backwards. Simple as.
Yeah, it's an impressive start from this Loughborough 8. Hannah West on the loose side. Just having a little look at her as well, the England contingent here, the England coaches. Maud Muir as well, just announcing the under-20 squad in the middle of that Wasps front row. Having a torrid time at the moment. Sarah Hunter controlling. Now she powers away. Sarah Hunter can't quite get it down. Good defence from Wasps. Edwards there, the fly half for Wasps. Can't repel the try. And it's another one for Loughborough. And who's at the bottom of the pile? It looks like Morena Talling, the second row, who's got that one over.
And again, clever play there. They didn't try and rush it. They didn't have white line fever. Sarah Hunter got caught slightly short, so instead of reaching out, she pulls it back. So then you can re-go. There's no rush and panic for them to score. There's the kind of confidence. We'll get there eventually, and then just the clever picks. And Wasps just couldn't get low enough to get underneath them. Yeah, she's come up too high there, and then they're just getting moved back, and it's just a nice little touch over the line.
Yeah, the rain is coming down now.
It's lovely and sunny when we arrived, wasn't it? And now, yeah.
It's beautiful. We are under cover, though, unlike supporters and coaches.
But yeah, as long as we're all right.
Jack.
Yeah.
I think I was going to say, just going on from your point is just a composure. Just really composed at the moment from Reece Edwards' side.
Yeah, definitely. Like forwards, backs, they just look. She's going to be very disappointed with that one, isn't she?
Well, you've
I've
cursed
jinxed
her again. You've cursed her again.
I think it's me. Yeah,
Your fault.
to just not talk about her. But yeah.
It is unusual because expect Emily Scout to get those conversions.
But what you'll find though is in other areas of her game, she'll really pick it up now, and we'll see her do a line break, something like that. She really lifts her game just because she's that quality. That's a great take there, good hands, running backwards over your head from Craig there.
And there's Craig, and then Hannah West gets a return ball. She's done well, and then drops that ball and powers on. You're allowed to do that. She didn't have possession of the ball, but the counter ruck from Loughborough is an aggressive one.
Yeah, that's come from sevens, hasn't it, a lot, where you get tackled, release the ball, get up and pick it back up again.
Malloy. Claudia McDonald with a clear that time, the scrum half. Now she'll have to go back to her regular role. Lark Davis is coming on the side. Referee's seen it. Wasps making the referee fully aware of that. They have the penalty. An opportunity just to get out of their own half again. Have been accurate though, Wasps. One visit deep in Loughborough's half, one try.
Yeah, and they've got to be pleased with that. For the actually Loughborough taking obviously longer to score. They're calm, they're going through the phases. Where Wasps have one opportunity, turnover, line out, scored straight away. But they've wanted to get a little bit more length on that, I think, just to kind of go slightly more into the danger area. But in the half, so they'll be pleased with just the territory that they're getting.
It is similar to last week in the fact that Loughborough having plenty of possession, like Bristol had last week. But Bristol weren't accurate last week. A lot of unforced errors in their performance, which just allowed that when Wasps did attack that scoreboard, there wasn't much to get over the top of Bristol. It's different here today because Loughborough have been clinical and they've got 3 tries on the board already.
Yeah, you don't want to give this Loughborough team the ball because they are knowing exactly how to use it.
Again, they have possession. Amelia Harper, this youngster, was there at scrum half. It's a little bit scrappy.
It was scrappy, and we were talking about when you get the turnover, you want to move it wide, everything like that. On a turnover, I think the last thing you want is a pick, just because that's where all the defence are going to be set anyway, because you're always like around the ball. So I think that possibly should have gone rather than looking to pick into there. But when you have the advantage anyway, at least they get the scrum.
Started the season with a win over DMP, did Loughborough. Hat-trick for Lloyd. Then lost out at Bristol. And then a tight game against Saracens that's really sort of announced them this season as proper competitors. 24-28, it ended to the champions, but they had to come back very, very strongly indeed. Very powerful performance from Saracens. And then, of course, last week we've spoken about 91-10. It wasn't 91-7, 91-10 last week against Fluid Waterloo. So inconsistent. This away from home today.
I think as well you can play with a different level of confidence when you know that every scrum you have, you can get a penalty off it almost. So you know that you can move the ball around. Because if there's a drop ball, you know you're going to put pressure on the opposition scrum, so you can move it around a bit more.
They've had the upper hand in the scrum. What we see here from a driving line out, similar position about 5 minutes ago. They went to the tail. Rachel Malcolm.
Well, Lark Davies is just so composed, and I don't think anything ever rattles her, and she's just a very skillful player.
Claire Cripps is on. Claire Purdy, as she was before.
You have to wonder if that's go and sort this scrum out, experienced player, go on, like we've got to fix this.
100%. Turnover ball for Wasps though, but it's squirted out illegally.
But again, look at the reactions there from Greg to actually just go and play. Yes, it's come back for the penalty, but there was no thought about kicking out, or that they're just looking to go, and they do have an intensity about them when they're in attack.
But don't say anything, Kat, here now. Your good friend Emily Scarrett kicking, because this is very kickable. If she doesn't kick this, then she's got real problems.
Yeah, if she doesn't kick this, I don't think I can do commentary with her again. I think she'll say, right, I can't do it.
Bad luck.
Yeah, bad luck. No, I think she'll be pretty confident about this one.
The opening half an hour has whizzed by, often the sign of a good game. Has been to and fro, but majority, the lion's share of possession and territory, and of course most importantly on the scoreboard, has been the way of Loughborough. Yeah, she wasn't going to miss him there.
There you go. I can stay. I can stay. Okay.
Very welcome to stay. 18-5. Loughborough Emily Scout finally laces up the kicking boots. Just rewards really for all that possession, all that territory that Loughborough have had.
Yeah,
18-5 is about right.
Yeah, constant possession. They're using it well, and yeah, deserved score.
Third set piece doesn't go well for Loughborough though. There's something to work on at half time. Little mix up of communications to who was taking the restart. Cripps underneath a distant and faded rainbow here in West London. And they've given Wasps a way in here.
Yeah, like obviously they now have to think about the fact that they've got a scrum up here, so they're really going to have to fine-tune everything, and that's, by putting Cripps on, she can hopefully help to do that. But it's an interesting one to think about with advantage, because if your scrum's not going so well, as soon as there's an advantage, you kind of want to launch it just so you can try and keep the ball and keep the phases going.
Cripps, 37 years young now. Still the same result at the scrum time though. Malloy and Harper having their own private battle on that open side.
With that though, I think that initially they had the right idea, because if your scrum's going backwards, you just want it in and out. You just want to put it in, hoof it back and get it out there as quick as you can.
All that technical language of a scrum doctor.
Yeah.
Hoof it out.
Hoof it out as quick as you can when you're running backwards. There you go.
That's what's in between the two props, isn't it? A hoofer.
Yeah, a hoofer.
Not a hooker, a hoofer.
A hoofer.
Loose head prop, hoofer, tie head prop.
Yeah. It's not that complicated. Any front row watching and hate me so much.
Yeah, I'm not liking you right now, I can assure you. Really not.
There you go.
It's bubbling around anyway. We're back with play, back with the rugby, back with Hannah Edwards. Good drive, good latching on. Muir that time, she had Craig in attendance as well, and again Gemma Rowland with Nicole Smith latching on. Wasp building here, building patiently, building well. McDonald whips that ball away. Muir again has played some rugby on the tight, in the back row I should say. Today her first TP appearance in that front row, because she's old enough now. Turnover ball for Loughborough. Katie Daly-McLean. Fine touch, but the bounce of the ball does in the end, and that's good recovery from Loughborough.
Wasps finally finding their form there a little bit though. They actually, they were getting the numbers, they were running in threes, they were latching through, good leg drive in the contact. So much better for them to see them actually putting some phases together. That was a big hit and older though, wasn't it? Like double tackle, they know she's a threat, played a match last week, you were saying like good footwork, so they wanted to cut her down, double tackle, force the mistake.
Here's a stat for you, and this is what I spend my time doing. She has only missed 2 Tyrrells Premier 15s games for Wasps.
That's incredible.
Incredible consistency, getting out on the field without injuries, but her performance as well, just true team player.
Definitely.
Kate Alder. Gonna have to do something special here though, the Wasps captain, to drag Wasps back into this game. 18-5 I should say. Donald Edwards this time has missed out. Over Dirk off her wing, as she often does, just looking for work. Muir again, she's been busy the last 5 minutes with ball in hand.
Yeah, I think she's done about 3 carries in the last couple of minutes.
There's a bit of space there. Sayelda. Left wing covering nicely.
And that's what you want. If you're going to put in a short kick in behind, you want a good chase in there to pressure. And, you know, Loughborough didn't get the support there quick enough. So then there's a holding on penalty. And then you can then really start to apply the pressure again.
Yeah, happy birthday to Bethan Seidler. 3rd season playing rugby. She does the marketing for Loughborough. It's been very helpful this week with all the information she's provided. Watched the last couple of weeks as well. Give some great insight to the players. I'll see you in the commentary box.
Few players down. There's not actually been many stoppages, has there, this play? It's, you know, ball in play time must have been pretty high.
Caught me out last week, our continual clock that runs on our screen, and your screen wherever you're watching this second live streaming of the season. No stop clock, so it will just run on, so we will be a couple of minutes over the 40, I would have thought. As Amelia Harper, just 19 years of age, one of those players, I think 6 Loughborough players in the England under-20 squad announced this week. Twisfield, Hardy, Harper, Ramsbottom and Richmond. All under the watchful eye of Amy Turner. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So, yeah, she's got a wealth of experience, hasn't she? And again, another player who's played many positions, played 9, played hooker. So, wealth of experience for the young ones coming through to listen to.
And not a lady to mess with either, former police officer, of course.
No, I wouldn't mess with Amy Turner. Definitely not.
Decide to go for the post here. Ross, Hannah Edwards.
I guess trying to keep close to it, into, you know, keep close, keep in the game, everything like that. There's only a couple of minutes. I'm always keen to kick to the corner and have a go, to be honest, especially when you're down and, you know, by the volume that they're down by, I think try and get over. But I understand it's only 2 minutes before half-time-ish, so.
Edwards certainly got the legs, got the direction as well. Fine strike from Hannah Edwards. A couple of conversions against DMP, a penalty last week, Hannah Edwards, and now a penalty here against Loughborough. And I guess they're thinking that 18-8 is an easier half-time team talk than 18-5.
Yeah, definitely, and I think you're really starting to build within building the score, which I do like, and it is a completely sensible thing to do. And she slotted it over, so right decision.
Right decision if she gets it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, if you get it, right decision. If not, why didn't you go for the corner? So, unfortunate knock on there.
Always find it fascinating watching the coaches, often in and around the coaches. On a little bit of scaffolding here at Twyford Avenue. Just watching Giselle made the pace up and down. She had her head in her hands there, that mishandling opportunity. And it is one of those coaches, isn't it? You've done well, you've got some points from a visit to Loughborough's half. You come away with 3 points, take the restart, clear your lines, get into half-time. But no, they've gifted Loughborough an opportunity.
Yeah, you know, you've gifted them a scrum, which we know that they are really good at, and only probably 15 metres out. So it's a very dangerous position to give, like you say, gift them.
Sarah was going to try and drive that scrum all the way. Megan Davey. Oh, the teenagers can't take that ball with her, a little bit greasy. Just holds her hand up to Sarah Hunter. Perhaps she got one of those looks.
Yeah, don't do that again. Yeah.
She does possess a look.
I think Wasps will be having a sigh of relief there as well, because it kind of takes them out of that pressure zone a little bit, because they're going to want to play this, just play this half out now without having any more points against, and then you're only going in with a 10-point deficit, which isn't too bad considering how Loughborough started.
It's back to a scrum, back to an area of superiority for Lightning. Driving. Lloyd scrappy down there. Craig has to get down there. Good initial work from Malloy. Hannah Edwards tries to clear. It's a great touch finder, really is.
I mean, we spoke about Katie's boot and Emily Scarrett's, but that under pressure with line speed chasing it for Hannah Edwards to slot that's a good kick, really good kick to find touch in there.
She's had a little bit of time over in Spain, returned to the club. I reckon it's about a 10th season at the club. Hannah Edwards, over 140 appearances for the club, one of those stalwart type of players. And kicks like that, see how important she is to the setup here.
Yeah, they can just settle and kind of rebuild.
Time for the line out though, and it's Harper who takes it. Young open side. Stop now. Says it's got to keep moving. Tells Alex Powell to get back round on the side. High body positions from Casey Allen and Liz Craig. They're just allowing that drive from Loughborough to go ahead. No advantage again from the referee. Blows his whistle, a penalty to Loughborough.
And that's the desperation again, isn't it? They're really wanting to hold out, and then it's just tipping over that edge into that penalty area. You're better kind of just stepping off a little bit, letting them play and trusting their defence.
Well, it does give us another opportunity, doesn't it, for Loughborough. Deep into that 22, and they're having a little council meeting just on their 10-metre line as Rachel Malcolm receiving a little bit of attention.
Well, Wasps are set and ready.
It's the one thing that's just shining out at me in this first half from Loughborough is just how composed they are. Oh, did somebody return to the side today by any chance?
What's the
Sarah Hunter.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Ah, now we see. It all becomes clear.
Yeah, now we know.
Certainly not the only reason, of course, but a big part of it, you feel.
Yeah.
You spoke about her calmness. That's what it's been from Loughborough so far. Cool, calm, composed performance. And again, the forwards rumbling up. Turnover ball for Wasps though, and they're able to clear the lines, but only as far as Emily Scarrett, who steps and then just eats up the turf, doesn't she? Emily Scarrett knows her way to the try line. Did so in 2014. Certain game in the Jean Bouin Stadium. Don't know that one, do you?
Nah, just that
Big
little
tiny
game.
out of ever since.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Quite right too.
My last rugby game actually, so not a bad game
it?
to start.
Oh,
Yeah, we've got
happy
fun.
days.
Yeah.
Write your own script.
Yeah, there you go.
Daly McLean, Scarrett. Jones has just disappeared, but here's Rona Lloyd just cutting back in field sensibly, back towards some of the juggernauts. Hunter. Shoved on. Davey again. They're just happy to build some phase. Didn't quite
There's
work
a
on the
lot
right
of
hand
phases
side.
here.
Worked on the right hand side. Drop from Emily Scarrett. And that will signal the end of the first half. A first half that has been dominated by Loughborough Lightning away here at Wasps at Twyford Avenue. With 3 tries to the good already. And at the break, it is Wasps 8, Loughborough Lightning 18. To say all of those 3 tries for Loughborough, they'll be looking for the bonus point, won't they? But in complete control at times of that game. Just a few spikes from Wasps, but really it's been a composed, controlled half of rugby from Loughborough.
Yeah, really controlled. They just don't look in a rush to do anything. They've got a confidence about them that says, yeah, you know, if we keep the ball for enough phases, we'll either create an opportunity to score or we'll be in a position to score. And yeah, Wasps are looking sharp at times, but yeah, just some of the things they're kind of giving like a few silly knock-ons or a few silly penalties, which is just allowing Loughborough to keep building.
So 3 tries for Loughborough in that first half. They started very early, of course. Today representing a return, much appreciated by Simon Middleton, who's here, the England coach. Sarah Hunter returning to the Loughborough side, and you can feel it's just rippled through the entire squad, and it was in fact the England captain who got the scoring underway. They've had total dominance in the scrum, as
Yeah.
Cap Merchant, the scrum doctor, has pointed out on several occasions.
Hope it. Try forwards is fine. Yeah, no, and it is really smart play. She's got her eye on it the whole time. It does spill out, but she's reactive very quickly, gets on it, and as we said, does the secondary. She's allowed to, once she lands, to present the ball, and she gets it over on the try line. And then this one, obviously, moving it really nice and wide. Lovely dummy in there to cut back inside against the defence.
It was Olivia Jones, wasn't it, at fullback? Nice wide passes from Katie Dana-McLean. It's an obvious dummy. Abby Dow had to stay wide.
Yeah, and but a thing for all, you know, young players coming through in that, the key difference is ball in 2 hands. She's got the ball in 2 hands when she gets it here, which means she's credible to pass. Looks like she passed it, then transfers it to 1 so she can get the handoff away. A very simple thing, but actually if you don't do that, if that ball's in 1 hand the whole time, suddenly Dow doesn't drift, and then that's a tackle in there.
Yeah, both those conversions missed, and it was Wasps who had a brief foray into the Loughborough half, and Claudia McDowd, all that pace in the line-out.
Yeah, I mean, McDonald like just reacts so quickly, and he's so smart. She's seen it coming off. That's clever there to like hit onto it, and then this is a good finish because there's still a lot to do there. It's good footwork, kicks out, heads out on that kind of arcing kind of swerve run. So great finish there from her.
But Loughborough replied almost straight away. Again, that forward dominance, the forward strength up front, and it was Talling, the second row, who squeezed over.
And you have to say the shift in the weather as well is going to probably help Loughborough really in this kind of rainy, wet conditions with their pack.
And the half ended with a couple of penalties, one from Emily Scarrett and then one from Hannah Edwards from Wasps to make that half-time score Wasps 8, Loughborough 18. Well, or as you say, already 4 tries so far in this round, but last weekend there was a stack of tries. Here's a look back at them.
So some great tries last weekend in the Tyrrells Premier 15s. We've had a complete box change up here, so it's been all exciting in the commentary box. But half-time between Wasps FC Ladies 8, Loughborough Lightning 18. And just a reminder, today the second of the live streaming announced that plenty of these live stream games going ahead for you from England Rugby. Next Saturday we are up at Loughborough Lightning for the visit of Harlequins, and then we're into the Quilter Internationals, aren't we? Saturday the 23rd of November. Red Roses against Italy. That's at Goldington Road. You'll not be able to get tickets, and you can watch it online. Saturday 30th November, the big ones for Wasps against London rivals Saracens. And then on Free Sport, we've got the AASE League and Champions Trophy finals from Allianz Park. Into December, mid-December, Harlequins against Saracens. One of those fixtures that just rears its ugly head as soon as the fixture list is announced. That's Saturday the 14th. On all the usual places, and then Saturday the 21st we feature Twyford Waterloo Ladies and DMP Sharks, one from up north, on Saturday the 21st of December. And all of those you can see on the Facebook page, England Rugby Facebook page, the England Rugby YouTube channel, and of course on the Tyrrells Premier 15s website. And those autumn internationals are now looming at large, aren't they? We've spoken about Simon Mills and Richard Blaze being here for the England management, looking at players, and those two autumn internationals for the Red Roses at Sandy Park and at Goldington Road. And you can buy tickets on the England Rugby Facebook page for both of those. Well, verbal confirmation of that for you. But Kat, let's get back to this game then. What will Giselle Mather be talking about in a half-time huddle?
I think about staying a little bit more controlled and not it's a difficult one to say, like stop making as many mistakes, because obviously then it becomes you'll make more, but almost like relax and trust that they've got good line speeds and that they can compete in this. They're not too far out from it, but just yeah, they've got to lift it from somewhere, I think.
And for Loughborough, what would they be saying?
I think more of the same. I think actually when you're doing something well, you are composed. You've got good. You've got a good kicking game. You've got a good scrum. The set piece is there. What they might say now is possibly try and move it a little bit as well, because Wasps might start to come in a little bit tighter. They'll have had time to adapt and to work out the issues in the set piece.
There's that confirmation of those Quilter Autumn Internationals. England against France on the 16th of November. 1:10 at Sandy Park. Exeter's brilliant atmosphere down there the last time the Red Roses went down. A great support for the women's side. And then Goldington Road on the 23rd of November, 3 o'clock kickoff for England's visit of Italy. A few injuries troubling the England selectors at the moment. A few players out injured, the likes of Harriet Miller-Mills, who was here today as well, but some front rowers as well, which will cause England some concerns. Of course, those 28 contracts have been awarded now, but not ring-fenced in terms of only those players allowed to play who are contracted. You can bring in players, of course. We're talking about the Quilter Internationals. If you don't believe what we're saying, then have a look at previous action. Yeah, Sarah Bird will be at the forefront of England's efforts, I would have thought, over the autumn. And of course, Bristol today in this round 5. Up against Harlequins. At Harlequins, Richmond entertaining DMP. Gloucester up against Worcester, and Twyford Waterloo are playing Saracens, of course. There are the confirmation of the round 5 fixtures for the Tyrrells Premier 15s. Intriguing time of the league, and you know, Cat, do a little women's rugby podcast, women's rugby pod out women's rugby. If you haven't got across it, all the news on the for the women's game, alongside, of course, the England O2 podcast is a decent podcast to be across. So just put a question to Rachel Burford in that. I said, are we now just battling for places 3 and 4 now in the league, or is it a little bit too early to say that?
Yeah, a little bit too early to say that, I think, because I mean, when you initially hear it, you do think of straight away Quins and Sarries up there. But I think we have seen some results. I think Loughborough could be real contenders. I think they'll probably build into their season a little bit more. You know, it's a tough, looking at the Twyford Waterloo fixture, that's a tough one for them, isn't it? To have Loughborough and then straight away next week have Saracens, that's going to be a tough ask for them.
You just shipped 91 points against Loughborough, and then you have the double champions coming to town. Not an easy run, of course. These teams looking for a top 6 finish, of course, to guarantee being offered a place back in the Tyrrells Premier 15s for the next 3 years, and then the tender process and the relegation, inverted commas, starts that whole process. And of course, the news of late has been the likes of Exeter starting a women's team, Newcastle Falcons as well starting a women's team. So these Premiership clubs that don't have women's sides now beginning to realise that they're missing out on women's rugby, the fastest growing team sport in the land.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. As you said, the Exeter, the game down in Exeter, the England-Italy one, that was fantastic. The atmosphere was great. Everybody was there in, was it Italy or France? I've lost track, but yeah, the one that was down there was great, and it was brilliant atmosphere.
Italy,
everyone bought into it, and yeah, just a fantastic thing. And it's great to see new teams coming forward and, like you say, developing the game, and it's only going to make it even more interesting and more competitive.
It's not just, of course, the Red Roses are having autumn internationals. A lot of the sides now taking the lead, of course, from England, who have been playing autumn internationals for a very, very long time now. But the likes of Wales, they've got a 4-5 game autumn series. Ireland as well. Scotland have just toured South Africa. So the other nations beginning to keep up with the pace and playing Test rugby on a regular basis, which can only be a good thing, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it just keeps them sharp. The more you play, the better you're going to be. You know, with relevant opposition, and that's really important for them when it comes down to the Six Nations. Everybody's kind of getting those games in beforehand.
Yeah, Rachel Malcolm was one of those, the Loughborough Lightning captain on the blind side, one of those in South Africa. Helen Nelson as well in the inside centre for Loughborough. They've got it all to do here, Wasps. 10-point deficit at half-time. Wind slightly behind them as well, Loughborough, in the second half. They were kicking into what is a blustery wind, big heavy clouds overhead, some blue skies on the left-hand side.
Yeah, rain's died down now, which is much better for the players and spectators as well.
Hannah Edwards then, a fine penalty, back end of that first half, brought the score to 18-8, gets this second half underway, straight into the arms of Katie Daly-McLean.
Yeah, and she'll know exactly what needs to be done in that area there. I remember once getting told off by her. We were playing New Zealand and it got kicked quite deep, so I got it right from the back, so I was like, right, I should kick this out. Kicked it out. Obviously I'm not a kicker, didn't go as far as I'd have wanted, and she turned around, shouted at me and told me next time run it. I was like, okay, I can do that. So flashbacks. Yeah.
Suspect it might not have been that polite.
Oh, yes, a stern look.
It's a family show. It's pre-watershed. We'll need that conversation there. Here's Gemma Rowland. More centre. Off the back of the 2 victories, Wasps coming into this one. Spoken about Bristol last week. DMP Sharks, Darlington Modern Park Sharks the week before. Little early tackle. It was knocked on in the tackle, and there's that Wasp defence again. It served them so well.
Well, when you've got someone flying up at you, you know, even if you're trying to just look at the ball and you're trying to focus on that, at the corner of your eye, you do catch a glimpse of it, and that's when you can do the knock-ons, or it can spill out because you're just slightly distracted in that just second where you see someone flying up at you.
Scrum. What have they been able to do? What have they been able to talk about at half-time? Much better from Wasps at scrum time. Craig comes away. He 1-2 with Rowland. Better from Wasps at set-piece time. Nicole Smith, though. Pass was too low. Goes backwards, says the referee. McDonald. Amazing. Wearing 19. Replacement at half-time. Hannah Edwards just trying to pepper it down into those corners. Abby Dow is there. She can't take it though. And knocks that one on. Right idea, just poor execution in the end.
Yeah, lovely idea in behind there. The gap was there, space was there, and just I think it just Abby Dow couldn't quite get her hands, so she's overstretched and she's ended up knocking it on. But great idea, and it's going to keep the Loughborough defence guessing. So if you can have them thinking that you do have a kicking game, you get your wingers to drop off, suddenly there's space out wide for you to run into. So it's really important that you do have both areas of your game, the kicking game and stretching them with width.
Better all round from Wasps.
Much better scrum.
Yep.
Much better. So platform, they've obviously tried to start with that at half-time. They fixed some issues. We're back. Yeah, so fixed some issues in there, which will give them a much better platform to play off of.
You're scrabbling around for scraps of ball. Just not ideal against quality outfit like Loughborough. As you say, you just get the feeling they just about second gear, not in this game but this season at the moment. You just feel there's plenty more to come from them.
Yeah, definitely they're a team that's building and improving each one.
Yeah, Joe Brown injured at the moment. Sarah Bonner as well. Internationals both. Catherine O'Donnell in the second row as well, the England lock. There's that Wasps defence, and it's a huge cheer on the far side for the Wasps faithful. Turn that ball over, get the penalty. Really bright start to the second half for Wasps.
Yeah, that's an important penalty there. Like we just saw just before half-time, there's key moments in the game, and Smith managed to get that turnover, which meant that the pressure was off. It meant it could take it away from Loughborough being within the scoring zone. And those key moments, like that penalty there, that can be the difference now. That can, if they come and score off of this, closing that scoreline down, key moments.
Change on the Loughborough wing as well. Bethan Sadler has come off. Rachel Woozy looks like she's come on, but Wasps take the line out. Take it well. Malloy in there, just giving instructions. Oh, here they come, breakthrough Wasps through Hannah West, and it was easy as that for the loose head. Wasps needed to respond very quickly in the second half. That's exactly what they have done.
Great, again, just the speed at which they react to something. West at first almost looked a little bit surprised that it was so easy when she got over the line. But great work from them. It's obviously a play they've spoken about, and they've come out and they seem to have really fixed those set-piece issues.
She scored a try last week underneath a big pile of bodies, Hannah West.
At least this one, she can definitely have those ones where they're under a pile of bodies and then no one really knows who scored them. But here, no, that was yours, West. You did well. Good run in.
Yeah, clear daylight right through the middle of the ruck. Her fourth try of the season. couple against Worcester, one last week against Bristol.
And Edwards has slotted that one as well, like right from the touchline. She's, you know, good boot on her, really good accuracy.
That's a different ball game now.
Yeah, hugely be happy with that now, and then it makes that decision to go for the 3 points even more important earlier, because now they're right in there, only 3 points shy.
It's great kicking. And Hannah Edwards. 3-point game. Wow. What's in the half-time origins in a Wasp changing room?
Yeah, whatever is in there has worked for them.
And they get the penalty as well here at the restart.
Well, this is where, you know, from a Wasp point of view, they'll be wanting to rattle Loughborough, because Loughborough have had it so easy and they've been calm and controlled, whereas actually they need to shake it up. They need to make them feel uncomfortable in order for them to get a foothold into this game.
And you want to beat the teams in and around you, don't you, in the table?
Yeah, they're the important games, the ones close to you, because they're the, you know, it's almost double points because you're getting it and you're stopping them.
Loughborough started the day on 12 points in 5th. Wasp started the day in 3rd. 15 points from their 3 wins. Bonus points in there as well. Now it's Loughborough's turn to get the penalty at the breakdown. It is a battle royale there, isn't it? Not clearly Loughborough done my homework from last week, where on the floor Claire Malloy et al. Were absolutely supreme.
Yeah, Malloy, it's one of her strengths, getting in over that ball, so you're going to have to make sure that you're in over them quickly, clearing them out of the way, because otherwise players like that are just going to steal those balls off you.
Now Loughborough have the line out from the penalty in between the 10-metre line and 22.
Yeah, they've got some lovely width that they're holding here, and they're really nice and deep as well, so they may be looking to get it wide.
Got to do the first job first though, win the line out. They have just. He was bobbling around, needed a couple of bites of the cherry. And they've done really well to keep that ball off the floor and then drive it on. Harper is right in the middle of that, the teenager. Davey. Daly McLean. Whistle's gone.
Yeah, offside, and they were. Wasp, you could tell it was one of the ones in the middle. They just flew up. They were just being a little bit too keen. I think that might have been maybe fed in from the touch judge, because you could see it.
Was the pass forward then to Rona Lloyd? I'm just wondering why you wouldn't play an advantage in that
Well,
situation.
Call it back. I imagine it was forward. It did look a bit, didn't it, from here?
Let's hope so, because she was away.
Yeah. I think the players would be kicking off a lot more if it wasn't, if they called back an advantage for a kick.
Well, now we've got some sunshine. The rain's come back in. Wasn't forecast. Big one for a weather app when you're commentating. Look.
Just bring all layers, and then you cover all bases.
Underprepared today. I'm having to pile on layers. I was climbing into your lovely big fluffy coat with your cap, but I'll resist.
Yeah, it's quite warm, not to be smug, but
right,
I'm all right.
Yeah, it's built for the cold. Emily Scout though, just to stem this sort of mini tide from Wasp in this second half. Straight and true. 3 more points for Loughborough.
Yeah, important points as well to take them just that little bit further away, but still within scoring kind of range in there. So it's just how they react back now. So this half just seems a bit more like a lot about Wasp, then straight back, Loughborough come at them, and then there's another turnover. So it's more over to you.
Ryan Lloyd. Ryan Lloyd from the restart. Mark Davis has knocked that on. A little bit of sun. Wasps have possession again, a little bit scrappy at times. Spoke about the conditions at half time, didn't you, and how important they may well be come this second half. Mark Davis, I think it's just an eye off the ball rather than anything slippy in the hand.
Yeah, because the handling's been good considering the wet weather. I mean, it does. The screen never shows it up as bad as it is, but it is quite horrid out there. But yeah, I think just eye off the ball. They're starting to think one phase ahead, possibly too soon, whereas actually got to do the job at hand first.
Here we go then. Another Wasp scrum. Now we're reaching for the sunglasses. I mean, it's
confusing.
Four seasons in one day.
Yeah, rainbows out there. We're all right.
George and Zippy around. Wasps on the attack. Nicole Smith, over 70 appearances for Wasps. Great serve, and they all train together, Wasps. So dropping these players in, more sort of fringe players. Giselle wasn't too worried. Spoke to her in the week. All train as a squad every time they go out on the field. Yeah, of course they do their set stuff, but players ready to play at this level, and they're proving that in this second half. 6-point game as Loughborough tried to repel Wasps here. Wasps with a drive. Cripps is there, and Hannah West looking for a second. Don't need any white line fever here. Great tackle from Kat Hobson, who's on for Loughborough. Gone on that left-hand side now, Wasps. Now there's space, surely. Got to get that ball away. Nicole Smith, that goes through her hands. Has the opportunity gone? Good composure though. They've lost the field position, but just happy just to reset again. Hannah West, good leg drive with a couple of her buddies as well. Loughborough's defence solid. They only had a proper game. Hannah Edwards rolling, ball bobbling around. Tova Dirk is quickest to react, but it was knocked on in the end, and that attack comes to nothing in the end for Wasps, and it's a psychological win for Loughborough.
I think Loughborough was so good at just holding out, and then Wasps ended up feeling like they had to do something different. They didn't just want to rely on the forward carries because they weren't getting anywhere. Then they do what Loughborough want them to do. They want them to pass it out because it is more high risk. You can get more line speed on it, and then you can knock them back and actually take the pressure away. So that offload could have worked out. A clever play from Edwards there to try and offload across to Rowland, who was on her shoulder. But again, in those areas is very high risk because that's where your defence is hottest and is going to be flying up at you the fastest.
So Loughborough have this scrum just to clear their lines. Last season, between these two, as the scrum resets, Lightning did the double. 28-10 at home, and it was 40 points to 20 here at Twyford Avenue last season.
High scoring game.
Season before, 26-20 up in the Midlands, and 45-5 here at Twyford. So some high scoring games, currently 21 points to 15 to the away side. Precious away wins in this league amongst the top six. Bradley, who's moved from the second row to number 8, Sarah Hunter. Her afternoon's work is done. Wasn't bad either, was it?
No.
Daly McLean.
She did well. She got good shifting.
Kat Hobson, as we mentioned, is in the second row. It's got a little bit scrappy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that comes from really wanting to try things, to create things. I mean, Dow does a good line break there. She probably doesn't need to run the switch line and the offload, actually maybe keep hold of it. That could be on. Yeah, it's that in between. Is am I staying wide? Am I switching in? And they've kind of got caught up in that. But they're trying to play. They're wanting to create things, and with that high risk. But you know, you either pull it off or it makes a mistake.
Akita Lewis, wearing 22 for Wasps. She's on the field. Katie Mason has made way. Abby Dow still at fullback. Now the Rainbows in full song. Over our left-hand side, that line out is full song as well. But Megan David caught the Loughborough scrum half by a very strong challenge to turn this ball over. Claudia McDonald whips it away. Really wanted to get that ball away. Just not accurate enough, Wasps. Scrappy again. Dirk leaves it for McDonald. Lizzie Flash-Goulden is on the field. Here's Davey. Jones. Straight down the throat of Gemma Rowland, and Rowland, experienced campaigner, nice neat step, and she loves an offload. This time she's not able to get one away. Cripps. West, very strong with ball in hand, especially in this second half. Smith waits again. A regular pattern between those two. Rowland. Trying to find some sort of gap around the fringes of that ruck. There aren't many at the moment. Maisie. Wasco again. So close now. Nicole Smith being dragged backwards by Emily Scarrett. Right through the middle again. That's how Hannah West scored, wasn't it?
Yeah, straight through, spotted the gap, went for it.
This time West just uses more of a decoy. Katie Daly-McLean trying to be an open side flanker. So narrow though, Wasps in attack. Lewis, who's got the ball now, so tight to where the breakdown was, but here comes Claudia McDonald. She's got bags of pace. Claudia McDonald, oh, she's going to race in, is she? It's an incredible covering tackle. Not sure she's got there though.
She's just that gear again, the pace. She just gets the ball and accelerates through. She's strong. I mean, she's not the biggest, but like she gets that handoff out. She fights people off her. That was a brilliant turn of pace in there. A great cover defence, as you said, to get across if they have got her. So good pick up. Palms the first one, Palms the second one. That's good running in there. And then going for a third handoff to get away.
It's Kat Hobson, isn't it, coming across?
Yeah, it's that cover one in there to see if she's got it, because the corner flags are relevant, isn't it? It's if her feet are off the floor, that's fine. That doesn't matter. It's whether she's gone into touch before putting it down.
Well, the assistant referee's given the lie-out to Loughborough, so decision is made.
Great cover tackle, brilliant, because you'd think that actually there she's finishing in there.
Yeah, Kat Hobson take a bow.
They feel as good as scoring a try, don't they? If you can do a cover tackle like that, a try saver, just as important.
Harper on the field wearing 17. There she is, over the top of the ball. Davey, the student at Loughborough College. Again, just clear their lines, but they're just giving nice easy ball to the Wasp back three, and it's Abby Dow. Whammo. It's a huge tackle. I think it was Helen Nelson. Just the ribs invited themselves, didn't they?
And Nelson's strong. You don't want her tackling you with your ribs exposed.
just can't get their way out of their own 22 here, Loughborough. In a bit like Wasps in the first half, the seesaw game continues to play out like that.
Yeah, they've been trapped kind of in their own 22, haven't they? But the difference with Loughborough is I think their defence is just relentless, and they, they're able to kick out of it. But great take in there, and a lovely offload, one hand to get that away, and then big shot from Nelson there on Dow.
In the balance this game, isn't it? As we just go over the 60-minute mark on this continual clock on the right-hand side of your screen. Really in the balance, 6-point game is nothing. And Loughborough on the 3-try mark. Of course, you get an extra bonus point for scoring 4 tries or more, and for losing by 7 or less.
Well, if you think quite soon into the game it was 18-3 we were looking at, 18-5, and then suddenly then to really build back in the score, Wasps are making a comeback.
Powell, good line out win for her.
They'll be frustrated. That's another one, isn't it? The Giselle Matters going to be pretty frustrated with on the sideline, because those are the ones where you're just like, you've got possession, you've got, you're in a good little bit of territory. Here's where we really got to put the pressure back onto Loughborough, and then you give them the ball, and you just kind of lose all the momentum that you've been gaining.
Yeah, defence hasn't been too bad so far this season. Conceded 11 tries. Loughborough before today, another couple today, of course. Scored 25. Third on that list. Was coming into this round behind Harlequins 36 and Saracens 26. Most of those, 15 of them last week. 7 for Ronan Lloyd, who has hardly touched the ball so far. Daly McLean. Nelson. Scout just right to tackle from Kate Holder. Knew the hit was coming. All ribs still intact though, as Emily Scout.
It's the best way to get over a massive hit if someone ends you. If you can get the offload away, it almost negates the hit. So yeah, she's done well there.
Does everything well though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
A couple of conversions. Just proves she's human.
Exactly.
Menin try scoring that first half. Good run from her. She up the try, didn't she? Actually score it, Menin. Yeah. Wasps again. Just about on halfway. Win that penalty at the breakdown. It's been one of their saviours, isn't it?
Yeah, Loughborough a couple of times being caught out from the holding on penalty, which just shows how quick the players, as you mentioned earlier, like Malloy, are just so quick over that ball. So Loughborough really, to clear these breakdowns up, one, have got to do better ball presentation on the floor to buy time, and then the support have got to blast over rather than stopping over it. So then the ref isn't, knows that it's not going to be holding on.
Yeah, it's like some nervy 10 minutes or so. A few mistakes, few turnovers, few penalties in there for both sides since that Emily Scout penalty to make it 21-15.
That's a much nicer line out there as well.
Into Rowland. Plough move, little slip ball off the shoulder of Gemma Rowland. Didn't work out though. Dana McLean wider. She knew, didn't she? She knew there was space out there. Emily Scarrett knew as well. Just can't take the pass.
And that's one of those. If that pulls off that flat, with Emily Scarrett kind of on the corner of the defence running through, that's line break every single time. Whereas if you pull that pass deeper, the defence get across to it. So it's that real fine line between actually this is the one that's this is the pass that's gonna get us in behind, and actually, oh no, this is too far back. So really clever idea.
It's that sharpness of mind. We know that Katie Day-McLean spent some time with the sevens, of course. And of course, we know all about her exploits in the 15-person game. But that sharpness of her thought there, just she knew where the space was, knew what pass needed to be delivered. It was just literally millimetres too far for Emily Scout. But that kick there is millimetres perfect into that 22.
It's exactly what you want. You just want it to keep rolling into touch, and then great decision. Because now, again, it's all about pressure. This game, I feel, it's all about the pressure into there. So it's a good, really nice line out initially from what's into that.
Yeah, is this the try right at the beginning of this half?
Just a clever pick through, just spotted it. Loughborough forwards had all gone in too tight, possibly, and no one was scanning kind of almost that guard area around the maul rather than the ruck.
Playing advantage to Loughborough here. Feel the next score for whoever it is crucial in this game. Just to grab it by the scruff of the neck. Harper could pass out wide, and Loughborough that close now. Hobson. Reset again, Loughborough. Oh, still there. Here's Amelia Harper. Strong run from Amelia Harper, and she will not be denied.
That was a strong run. That was really good, both upper body strength to keep hold of the ball and kind of be driving, and then the leg drive as well to power through that contact. Excellent work.
Well, Loughborough have absorbed and absorbed and absorbed, haven't they, for quite a while. And then Loughborough come back down the other end. They're really accurate, good line out, and then it's a powerful run from the teenager.
That's it, and I think, yeah, the defensive work that they've put in for the last kind of probably 10 minutes, and then that, yeah, just great leg drive to get over the line there.
And we should point out, there's the bonus point as well.
Yeah, that's the one they've been chasing.
So at very least today, they will go away with a point. And potentially the maximum 5.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think whoever scored next in that area is going to kind of start to pull away from the game. But it's how Wasps react now, because I think moments like that, Loughborough will have their heads up now. They will have their tails up. They'll be feeling confident going into the last kind of 10 or so minutes into this game. So Wasps can't just lie down and take it. They're going to have to step up, and they're going to have to get some intensity about them.
But they know they can do it, certainly.
Yeah, we've seen moments of it. And another conversion there for Scarrett.
So your voodoo doll isn't working anymore.
That's good, that's good. Yeah, oh man, pleased. I started to get worried. Yeah. So really good vision in here, and then just excellent. Again, transfers the ball away from the contact so she can get the handoff in, leg drives. And what was really nice about that was she drops her body height. She starts off quite high, but manages to drop down so she can really drive herself over the line to dive down.
Clearly, I think big things of her. Amelia Harper. Really strong run. And again, she's taking a difficult ball there. Set that ball down. Katie Day-McLean outside her 22. Hand goes up again.
Yeah, not so happy obviously with that one. And again, it's playing with those margins. If that bounces, you know, what, 10 centimetres further in, it's a fantastic kick. It rolls out, but you're just playing right on the edge of it.
Anna Edwards going to forward a smile.
She had a good game, very good game. Controlled it well, kicking, really spot on as well.
Coming into the last 10 minutes now. Need some more possession again, like they had at the beginning of this second half, Wasps. Seems to be a fairly complete team, Loughborough, when you look at the power they're possessing in the pack, and look at that back line as well, with the likes of Ronan Lloyd and Helen Nelson, the Scotland internationals, and of course the England internationals as well. But there's some impetus off the bench as well from a couple of the youngsters.
Yeah, they're dangerous all over. I think you can't just think, oh, they've got a strong pack or they've just got a good back line. That, you know, they are the complete package with it.
Yeah, it's a 60-player programme that Rhys Edwards runs alongside the assistant coach, of course, Sarah Hunter. And they compete in 4 different leagues, of course, the Tyrrells, the Development League, and the 2 university leagues as well. So, you know all about the setup at Loughborough. As you say, the juxtaposition to Wasps, a well-established club here, this famous ground. Both semi-finalists last year, of course. Lost to Harlequins, did Loughborough 26-10 in the end. And Wasps losing out to Saracens. But that's where they want to be again. That's the bare minimum. They've set the standard for themselves. Technically a really good drive, and it's brought the penalty. Dania McLean shapes the kick and then just goes round West.
Yeah, I think she was hoping for the ball just a little bit earlier. She'd spotted it, she'd gone round there, and then it was just slightly delayed getting to her.
Menin, return ball from Harper. Harper onto the other Harper. Second try for Amelia Harper. And Loughborough Lightning just move away from what's on the scoreboard.
And good quick reactions there, and a great supportive line, and bursting onto that ball at pace there. So it's how quickly they can turn the screw and how they can just change it up, and then well, it looks like possibly an injury into there, hopefully not. But they're really taking their opportunities now, and they are foot on the gas. Great leg drive, and there's that offload. It's the ability to offload, because you're just in behind the defence, and it's so difficult to defend when a team's in behind you and offload, and you're having to track back, and the pace onto it, so good.
It should be an easy enough conversion as well, shouldn't it? Still some treatment. I think it is to Amelia Harper.
Yeah, in the act of scoring a try, something's happened in there.
Yeah, some medics there. Emily Scarrett adds the 2. And as you would expect from Emily Scarrett's class, just going over, just checking the injured player. Here's a great angle of the try here. Menin, that initial burst, she's good with ball in hand.
But it's a double offload. That's what it is here. Both strong runners are running, they're in, okay, and then they just manage to lift it up, which changes the point of contact, because Wasps are trying to get in close, they're trying to make the double hits, and then actually by keeping it alive, keeping it moving, is what makes the try happen in there, because it opens up.
Wasps need a very, very big final 5 or so minutes here, don't they? Anything from this game, 2 tries.
Yeah, and that's what you can come down to. Once you know it's kind of gone away from you and you can't score, sometimes actually just being like, right, okay, let's focus on 4 tries to definitely try and get into that.
Score is 15-35. 20 points clear now, Loughborough. Again, Loughborough with that defensive work. Scrub down to Wasps. Then if they are to get something from this game, now they've got to score. Got to score now in the next phase.
Yeah, they're just running obviously out of time, because I think they have been competitive in this game and they have been in areas, but there's been times where Loughborough just seem to have had total control, you know, for 10-minute phases, and they've just ran it exactly how they want to. Even when they're in defence, they're in control. So they need to take this opportunity now. This is a must-score area for them to be in and to be going over.
Front row spiking up. Referee will reset here. Certainly second half has been a lot stronger for Wasps in that second row. They brought Cripps on, didn't they, early? Also just before half time, just to try and steady things in that front row, and that she has been a steadying influence.
Yeah, and that's a good coaching decision, I think, sometimes, because it's always pretty harsh to bring a player off before half-time, but actually it was kind of what needed to be done to secure the scrum up. And as long as you have a conversation with that player, you know, for next time, then you can kind of, you just build trust in each other.
Huge scrum again from Loughborough. Now they get the full penalty, and that opportunity, a brilliant midfield scrum with options both ways, has gone for Wasps, and Loughborough very dominant up front, even with a Ross of substitutes which they have on now.
Yeah, I think it kind of sums up Wasps' day, that really. You've got great field position, you've got an opportunity here, your scrums have been better this half, and then when it actually matters, you know, Loughborough turn the screw, they turn it over and get the penalty in there. That's, I mean, absolutely destroyed the scrum there.
What was the key element to that, when that scrum?
Well, what they did was they got low and they pushed
just
really
hoofed
hard,
it.
and then they hoofed
heads down, hoofed, pushed.
No, the hoof is defensively.
Oh, sorry, right, yeah.
You know, you've got to get that back. But yeah, no, that was just, yeah, well, you're the expert, come on, you can.
far from it.
There you go.
I'm only front row uni when it comes to drinking at the bar afterwards.
There you go.
Wasp player down, just quite rightly, player safety absolutely paramount, isn't it? Just a reminder, next week we will be up at the home of Loughborough Lightning for their visit of Harlequins. And Harlequins will be looking at this, and they just thinking, okay, it's a proper team we're going to be playing next weekend. Loughborough Sarah Hunter will have a little bit of that game time under her belt.
Yeah, coming back in, like, it's important when players have been out for a while, obviously come in, they build it up, so rather than going straight into 80 minutes of kind of a full Tyrrells game, they can kind of build it up.
You will shortly be coming to your player of the match, Cap Merchant, so do give it a little bit of thought. We'll allow you this scrum and possible clear and kick.
Yep, that's fine.
Katie Daly-McLean. She found a touch. She has very securely this time, and penalties allowed to go straight to touch, and it'll be a Loughborough Lightning.
Yes, I think player of the game for me, like, it could have gone to quite a few people, but just someone that's just some big tackles, good line speed, and then 2 tries to her name is Amelia Harper. I think she's just come on brilliantly, and she's a force to kind of be reckoned with, I think, and got a big future ahead of her.
Nice, no complaints there. score a couple of tries, and dominant forward pack that she's been involved with. The back giving it to a forward.
Yeah, that doesn't often happen, does it? Yeah, sorry, I was watching that quick. But yeah, I was like, which back? Oh, me. Yeah.
Yep, that's you.
Yeah,
Former, sorry, I should have said, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Times of physicality. Is Helen Nelson getting involved again? She is one tough cookie in that midfield for Loughborough Lightning, part of what is an incredibly experienced midfield. And at times today, I just thinking that I don't know, when the dust settles on this game, barring some kind of rugby miracle now, it's a Loughborough win, it's a Loughborough maximum 5-point win. Just wonder if Reece Edwards, when the dust settles, will think it's a sort of microcosm of our season. Being inconsistent at times, we've been fabulous. At other times, there's plenty to work on. But I guess this early in the season, it's not a bad place to be.
No, and I think they know that if they're switched on, and they can have some fantastic performances, and then it's kind of getting it mentally right, I think, with inconsistency, because you don't suddenly become a bad team. It's got to be your mental prep and how you go into these games and what you think.
Well, I was just impressed as been tallying, Morwenna tallying in the second row. Now she's back at number 8. Daly McLean, flat, just firing out passes. Nelson, strong in the tackle, as you'd expect from her. And that's Scarrett doing some of the dirty work. Gordon, strong challenge from her. Now she's playing scrum half. Have to get the dustpan and brush out to tie that situation up, but Wasps defence again as fits and starts today. It was going to be a challenge, plenty of players out. We've mentioned some of those. Harriet Miller-Mills, sort of full start last week. Rico, Bertrivide, Maloney, Dennison, McMahon as well. So there's plenty of forwards that Giselle Mather may well have in that starting pack that are missing today, but they'll all be in the same boat at some point.
Yeah, and I think it's just come down to actually, like, they've had great line speed, they've had some good forward carries, they've had, they fixed their set piece, but it's just they've not been as clinical as Loughborough have, and that's been the difference. They've not taken their opportunities as well.
Alder, Gemma Rowland, up after halfway now. Kick ahead. Lewis is after it, but it's set there for Jenny Maxwell. Jenny goes. Looked like her boot was out of touch, and eventually the flag does go up.
Yeah, not a bad little spot there, I think, when you want your 9 to kind of just have a little bit of a scoot, and they've seen a bit of space, but you kind of want slightly more than the 5 metres, just so you do have a little bit more room to go round. But trying things.
The stage of the game. Jenny Maxwell trying to sort of press her personal claim, possibly for selection next week. Straight from the line out. We may well talk about this a little bit after the game, but the set piece has been superb for Loughborough. In fact, all-round performance today for most parts has been brilliant from Loughborough, and they've come away here to Wasps like they did last season and taken the victory from Wasps. And what has been an inconsistent start to the campaign so far for Reece Edwards players. Come away to Wasps, losing semi-finalists the last couple of years. This is a decent result for Loughborough.
Yeah, I think a really good result, and they can take a lot of confidence from it, that they do have a lot of areas they can play. I mean, they still made mistakes today. There was still a couple of tries probably they left out there, but from the most part of it, when they were in a scoring zone, they scored, they took their opportunity.
And it's the full 5-point victory for Loughborough. Yeah, the 4 tries for Loughborough. They came out of the blocks very, very strongly. And Wasps started the second half. You thought the comeback was on, but Loughborough held firm. And again, that mental side of the game, the physical is there and fairly obvious to see, but actually that mental side for Loughborough, just to hold firm when Wasps are coming back at them really, really hard, just to halt and then actually just to add a couple of tries themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Wasps threw everything at them and they just defended, eventually got out of there, got a penalty, got in and then ended up scoring, and that's kind of exactly what you're wanting from any team. You win the ball back with your defence and decent defence in there.
So what do Wasps have to work on in the next week before their next fixture?
I think actually when they're 5 metres out, they just seem to, rather than being composed, they start kind of, it's almost like they're not 100% confident what they're doing. They're throwing it behind people, it's hitting the floor, they're not sure if their forwards are carrying or if they're passing it out. So actually just a tiny bit more clarity in those areas I think will really help them out.
So plenty of Wasps to work on as they lose here, 15 points to 35 against Loughborough. Let's have a look back at the second half tries that we saw here at Twyford Avenue. Its first was Wasps. We were speaking about that really blistering start to the second half, repelled at the drive initially by Loughborough.
And I think that's it. I think the fact that they do initially go backwards, possibly, Loughborough are pushing so hard in, and it's just a clever pick, spin off, and a just good carry from West to get in there and spot and go for the try.
And then Loughborough just held firm, didn't they? And then Amelia Harper, she's just 19 years of age, double offload, as you said. Menon was there, the replacement Harper as well. It's a really, really strong fend.
Yeah, strong, just carries herself low, drives down to the line, and then a very similar one in this one with the offloading in. Oh no, it's the same one. But yeah, good drive, power over to score.
Yeah, you're just getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we, for a second try? But that was an individual effort, really, really strong. A little bit upright in the contact, but this is the one we were talking about. This double offload.
Yeah, so good offload in there to catch in behind the defence, and then another one in, and then just a really strong, again, just strong support line, slightly out to in, but it's that movement across, and it's a footwork, and you're looking at your front row that are doing these offloads, and that's great because naturally the big strong players are going to draw the most defence to them, so if they can keep the ball alive, you're going to create space somewhere.
Yeah, some offloading ability, and it's what England have brought to their game as well. The Red Roses, haven't they, with the likes of Vicky Cornborough, men and women, of course, with the likes of Carl Sinclair, Maki Vunapoli. If you've got those front 5 players with that ability to offload the ball, it just frees up your back row just to do a little bit more of their stuff.
Yeah, and I think gone are the days where, you're defending a prop and you just think all they're going to do is carry, whereas if it puts a doubt in your mind, are they going to pass, are they not? You can move defenders and you can find more genuine space. It's like I was saying earlier about when you've got a player that does kick sometimes, a defender might sit off you and come across, which gives you the option to then run. So you've got to have loads of tools in your game. You can't just be one directional. You've got to kind of have more to you in order to find those spaces.
Yeah, Amelia Harper, bless her, she's come all the way over from the far side on her crutches. The player of the match alongside her coach Reese Edwards, they're down there, and after her 2 tries she must be exhausted, but I hope she's well. Lucy Lomax, all yours.
Amelia, congratulations, you're the player of the match today. How did you find that win against Wasps?
I think it was like a good win by the team, like working together and like going through the fight. Like it got slippy out there at times, but we recovered and we scored like some good team tries and everything all together. So team effort, good team effort.
Definitely, you showed some real composure over there. You faced a bit of an onslaught from Wasps in the beginning of the second half, but you just built the pressure, built the points, and you got the bonus point in the end.
Yeah, I think that just shows like a testament to the girls, like we've been talking about all week of training, like coming out second half, if we're winning, like getting the foot down and like finishing the job like we've done really well today, and just finishing off, scoring some more tries and keeping the pressure on throughout.
You've got the first few weeks of the season out the way, players are back from international duty. Do you feel now that this winning mentality is really back in this Loughborough squad?
Yeah, I think so. Like, we're really pushing on as a squad, and we've got lots of good competition between ourselves, and we're like trying to improve every week and keep improving on every performance like we have been doing so far.
Fantastic. Well, you're the player of the match. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just going to grab Reece. Reece, your first back-to-back win of the season. You must be pretty pleased with that performance.
Yeah, definitely. It's not an easy place to come and play. 2 years ago was a real tough match for us, so we knew it was going to be a tough one to start. But pretty pleased with how we did weather the storm, as Amelia said. We put ourselves in a really good place at half time, but we knew Wasps wouldn't roll over. So we weathered it pretty well, and at times it was probably touch and go. But to come through that first 15 minutes and then get some good scores, and people like Amelia, and Georgia Bradley in particular really driving forward for us really helped.
Definitely, and Quins are up next. The opposition doesn't get any easier, does it?
No. Last year we won a good run in the first 8 games, and we took the game to Quins, and that's exactly the challenge next week. They come into our patch, and they've got some quality across that team as they've recruited well over the summer. But we're a team ourselves, and we've developed as well from last year. So the first 6 was always going to be about how we come through the first 3 with our selection challenges. But momentum's building nicely now, and Quins last next week will be a good show.
Definitely. Well, good luck and well played today.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Double try scorer today in this bonus point victory for Loughborough. Set piece was right on point. Sarah Hunter got through 30-40 minutes of rugby as well. She had a calming influence. She was accurate and consistent for Loughborough. They were cool, calm and composed, and to come away with a full 5 points in beating Wasps 35 points to 15 from Kat Merchant, myself, Johnny Hammond, and the rest of the team. A very good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of the weekend of those 2 quarter-finals tomorrow.